candid conversations, unfiltered opinions, and humor with Avag Beck's podcast.
Welcome all of you to an episode that I know for a fact, I know people have been looking. I have been looking as well. So I'm very giddy right now because we got talking. So I have Jeanne Omlor with me. Jeanne is known as the multi-million-dollar coach for coaches and consultants. So if you have a zeal to make a difference based on your education expertise and you need somebody to help you curtail that, this is the podcast to listen to. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your years in your career. If you're an expert and you know naturally you can help people along their lives and careers, this is the one podcast to listen to. Listen to the rest of them, but I mean, this one you will benefit from. So Jeanne, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you here. So, coaching, huh? So what was the one thing that really pulled you into wanting to help people make an impact and also improve their lives? You could have done anything else.
Right.
Under the
You know what's interesting? I without realizing it, I've always wanted to help people to thrive, because even when I wasn't a coach for coaches or businesses, because I started off as a life coach, I wanted to help people, and I immediately became a business coach. This was 13 years ago when I was living in New York, actually. And I always had this urge to help people to thrive in some way. And I didn't really formulate that. I just knew that. But it wasn't like, oh, that's my mission. I just did it. And I remember when I was an actress, I used to help all the actors. We were just sitting in the holding area. And they would be like, oh, I'm paying so much interest on my credit cards. And I said, why are you paying interest? I'll show you how to not pay interest. And they'd all gather around and I'd show them how to restructure to pay zero interest by getting 0%. And they were like, really? I can do this? I said, yes. And it actually builds your credit. It's not, because people don't know about credit. And I would just coach people for free. And because I hated to hear that these actors that had no money were throwing money down the drain on interest payments. And I said, you don't need to be doing that. Here's what you do. And they're, wow, thanks so much. So I've always wanted to help people to thrive. And then 5.5 years ago, I'd moved to Cincinnati, actually, and the people there, it wasn't a fit for my business coaching. They weren't really people that were investing in their businesses with what I was doing. And I thought, well, okay, I'm very good at what I do, but it's not a fit for this market. So I thought I better get online. So I got online and I plunked down 10K on 3 different credit cards. I was in deep debt 5.5 years ago. I'm a solo parent of 2 daughters. I was in deep, deep, deep debt. And after a transition, and I just thought I got to get online. So I plunked down 10K on 3 different credit cards to get into a program, because I knew nothing about online marketing. And I thought, well, even if this isn't the best program ever, at least I'm online. And the people in there, they're all paying 10K. So it's a certain level. Okay. So I did that. And it wasn't great, but I always make lemonade out of lemons. I never complain and go, oh, this isn't terrible. I think, okay, I'm going to make the best out of this, because nothing's ever perfect in life. So the ads they were supposed to be teaching me weren't working. Well, I wasn't doing it. I said, this won't work. I can't just throw money down a drain like with a lottery ticket with ads when I'm already in deep debt. And they said, no, you're right. It won't work for you. I said, well, thank you for that clarity. Then why did I pay you 10K to do this program? And they said, well, you should do organic. And I said, what, like carrots? I was so unsophisticated about organic marketing. And they said, no, Jeanne, not like carrots, but like go talk to people. I said, that's the training, go talk to people? They said, yes. I said, okay, well, I better go do that. I better be really good at it. So I went out and I started just experimenting, talking to people on social media and getting them interested in speaking with me. And I figured out how to get clients organically with no ads. And I started to get high ticket clients, and people were asking me, how are you doing that so simply? Because it's so simple what you're doing. You have no branding. Your website, you're saying don't go there, because it was my old executive coaching offer. And I said, it was very simple, actually. And I started coaching people on that. And I'm very driven to help people. So part of it is, yes, I do know how to do this. And the other part that's my passion is that I really want to help people to thrive, like really want to help people. And even one of my clients today on the group call, he said, I just love the passion here. He said, you clearly want to help us all in here. And I said, well, thank you, because he said, I love that you're so direct. I'm not going to say, oh, that's lovely. No, I'd rather say, look, that's not really working. So let's make it work, even if somebody doesn't feel good about me saying that. I'd rather tell them what's going to work, and they are helped and they're thriving rather than hearing me just say something because I want them to like me so much. Does that make sense? So I got into that because I realized 5.5 years ago that coaches, there are so many of them, don't know how to get clients. And I thought, wow, these people really need help. So that became my niche then. And we've helped over 500 coaches now and consultants and certain service providers, mainly coaches. And it just works. It's just about speaking to people in a good way and getting to know them and social selling. So it's not spamming people. It's not automating messages. It's really listening to people and really seeing the person and saying, okay, what do you need? Well, I need this. Okay, well, let's talk and see if that's something we could help you with. If not, we'll point you in a different direction. But we're never going to sell somebody something that they don't need or if it's not a fit.
Right.
So we teach heart-based sales. And I'm a sort of a mini influencer regarding that because I think the way that we've been sold to for hundreds of years is unethical. It's actually immoral because, salespeople are taught to lie, to coerce, to manipulate, to find psychological constructs to manipulate people, actually. And you shouldn't be doing that. It should be simple. What do you need? Okay. What's not working? Okay. Well, can we help you? Well, actually, we can or we can't. Okay, we can. Great. You want to hear about it? Yes. Do you want to do this? Okay. It should be that simple.
Right.
And if they come up with, objections that aren't going to help them to thrive, sure, we'll say, well, you said you wanted this and that's not going to work. So what are you going to do? We got to ask questions like that because people get funny with money. They just get scared. So it's actually serving people while you're serving. Now, my alter ego on sales calls is I am the voracious life changer. Because it is not, I am the salesperson that's going to sell you. It's about the person. Because I love helping people to thrive. It rocks my boat. Like I can't tell you how much I love when my clients succeed. I told my daughters, actually, they were a little bit mad at me. I said, it's so funny, but I think I'm almost just as happy when my clients succeed as you ladies. And they're like, Mom, Mom. I said, well, I mean, to be honest, it's almost not quite. They're like, Mom, we're your daughters. I'm like, I know, but I really help people to thrive. I love it. So beyond that, I just want to say I now have a 40-year mission, which may or may not include coaching for the whole time, but I'm on a 40-year purpose to help as many people to thrive on this earth till I'm 99 years old, because I'm 59 this moment. Because that I realized after looking at what I've been doing, I thought, wait a minute. It's helping people to thrive, whether they're coaches or this or that or business, or even not business people. Just how? Because with AI, I mean, we got to figure some solutions out pretty soon, right? So I'm helping in other ways now. I'm creating collaborations not to do with coaching, and the more I'm open to that, the more I meet the right people. They say, hey, we should create this because that could help people create their own business, apart from coaching. So the more I got clear on that, it's just opened everything up beyond the coaching.
I love it. So that's the big thing with coaching. I know for myself, I'll speak for myself. A lot of people who are good at what they do not want to sound like salespeople because of that distrust of being pushy and, trying to sell somebody a bridge, right? So people want to be able to communicate with the ideal clients where they can make an impact without coming off as salespeople. And in working with entrepreneurs and consultants and coaches, with delving a little bit into mindset at this point, is that a mindset that is challenging to break from? Or is that something that once you teach a person how not to come off salesy, it kind of is something that is easily taken on and relaxes the process a bit? Because I don't like to sound like a salesperson, and that in a world where it seems everything is competitive, it can be a turn off of sort.
Nobody wants to become off salesy. Nobody wants to sell, actually. And a lot of people will do everything but sell, and then they just waste their lives doing peripheral activities just because they don't want to sell, rather than getting to the crux of it and saying, well, okay, I'm going to have to learn how to sell in some way, shape, or form to get clients. But instead, they're in denial. So that was a great question, by the way. To answer your question, once people understand that sales shouldn't be spammy, that's the wrong way of selling, their eyes are opened. They're freed from bondage. Because the idea that we have to be all those used car sales, what if we understood that's the opposite of what you should be doing? Then you're like, wow, okay, not only it's not what you're going to teach me, but I shouldn't be doing that. I love it. People love it. They realize that's wrong. What if you just didn't do anything like that? What if you were on a sales call, because it is a sales call or strategy session or discovery call, it's all sales, right? And there was no friction. You see, you should have frictionless sales. If you're feeling like you're pushing somebody, there's a problem. It should never be that way. It should be so flowy. Well, I'd like to, but, and then some stupid excuse. And I say stupid because some of them are really dumb because it's fear. They're not dumb. Fear makes you say, oh, but, I need to, fear, usually of spending money, right? So I'm very calm about it. I get it. But is this what you want? Do you want this to happen? Okay. So if you don't work with us or anybody, if you don't get a coach, will this happen? Well, no, it won't. Okay. So do you want this to happen? Yes, I do. Then they see the logic of it. It's not an emotional thing. It's a logical thing. You want this to happen? Yes, I do. Can you do it on your own? No, I can't. So then you're going to need to invest. Yes, I will. Well, here's the investment. You want to do it? Oh, I can't spend the money. So there's a point where a human being has to be reasonable with themselves, not with me, with themselves. I want X, Y, Z. I can't figure that out on my own because, they've been doing it 5 years. If they knew how to do it, they would have done it, right? They would have already been doing it. Nobody doesn't do what they know works. They just don't not do it, but they know they would have been doing it, right? So it's the logic. I sell with the logic. Do you really want? Yes, I really do want that. Okay. Can you do it on your own? No, I can't. Do you need help? Yes, I do. Well, here's what we have. Do you think this would work for you? Actually, I do think it would work. Great. Here's the price. Oh, no, I can't spend money. Okay, so then, and the thing is, it's not for me to get them to spend money. It's for me to help them figure out that they will not get what they think they want if they don't do something. And some people go, I get it. I'm clear now. And then if they can get from there to, I still don't want to invest, then they can get to the thought process of, I don't want it enough. And then they can let go. See, my thing is just getting clarity on the call. Clarity to not live in darkness and denial. If you're clear, I think I want this, but I don't want it enough to invest, then they can let it go and they can have a happy life. Not thinking they want something that they're never going to be committed enough to get. And that's a gift because at least we have clarity. So it's not about selling people. It's helping them get clear. Do they really, really, really want it or not? They think they do, but then they're like, well, I guess I don't want it enough. And they're like, you're right. I really don't want this enough. Don't do it, but be clear that you're just sort of spinning your wheels, telling yourself you really want something, getting on sales calls with millions of people. A lot of these people get on any sales call they can to try to get information, to try to piece things together, and botching things together is never going to work. Right? So the answer is yes. Once you learn that that's the way to do sales, it's like a relief. And you can let all those other ideas go of forcing, coercing, convincing, persuading. No, it shouldn't even be in the call. It's serving. What do you want? What do you need? What's missing? Do you think, here's what we can do for you. Do you think this would work? And it's a yes. Well, let's work out whether you want to do it or not. If you don't, no hard feelings, by the way. And by the way, salespeople, they're all nice until you say no, and then they're not nice. I don't know what to say about that. I'm always bewildered. Oh, so by being mean to me, you think I'm going to say yes? Now I'm out of here. Because it's almost like you're going to be punished by saying no because you're a naughty girl, right? Have you noticed that? Yeah.
It's so comfortable. I think that is just that experience. You don't want to be that person. So, at the premise of even any sales conversation, you're like, I've experienced these people and I don't want to be a salesperson because it gets very demanding. Like, why? And
this is a very specific style and a lot of men sell like that. Okay. And sometimes I'm sitting there thinking, wow, so you think by abusing me, actually abuse, I'm going to say, oh, I've been abused. So I'm going to say yes. I guess they're counting on people that have no self-worth. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm going to have to get off this call right now because this person's actually being kind of abusive. emotionally abusive. So I'm like, it's really nice to talk with you, but I'm really going to go now. I don't want to do this. Oh, but you said, yeah, I did, but no, thank you. And I just get off the call. So clearly that's not the way to act. It's like, oh, I'm not getting what I want from you. So I'm going to be mean to you and force you into a sale, because maybe a lot of people care that much about what somebody else thinks of them. I don't. I care about somebody being nice to me, whether I'm going to buy from them or not.
You said two things that very much brings out the New York in you. You're direct. You don't care what people say about you.
I don't. I really don't care. I mean, you get to a point where it's like, you don't like me, great. You love me, great. They say that getting rid of ego means that whether people love you or hate you shouldn't matter to you, right? It shouldn't matter. I'm glad you like me, but it doesn't change my way. Too bad you hate me. Oh, well, but that's getting rid of ego, actually, is that you're not all thrilled because somebody likes you, right? It's, I know who I am. I know what I want to do. I know what I am doing. I treat people decently, and we want to help people. And if you want to work with me, great. If you don't, I still love you. It's just not a fit, right?
Absolutely. So, the concept of spending money, right? There's this adage where there's a will, there's a way. I do know people that really want to make a difference. However, starting a business is not for the faint of hearts. Most of their investments have gone into the business processes, setting things up, having things run, and they really do want to learn. However, the finances is, in a sense, obstacle. So what can anybody who fits into the category where there's definitely a will, but the way is a bit crooked at the moment? What can a person do that this is the circumstances or the condition that they find themselves?
Okay, this is the thing. You cannot start a business and not invest in it. That's a hobby. You can't. The nature of starting a business takes some investment. So people that say, well, I'm not going to invest in my business, and they're proud of it, they just don't know anything about business or strategy, because we all know a business takes some investment, some more than other. When you're going to start a new business, we all know. A colleague of mine, we're going to start a business, and we know just to start is $50K. We just know that. $25K each to get certain things done at the beginning. We know we can't do it with nothing because it won't work, right? So we just know that. Okay, sure, we're both going to we know that, and that's cheap to start that kind of a business. So, yeah, no.
You got a deal.
The thing is this. You either are going to go through life being an amateur, or you're going to say, I don't know much now, and maybe I'm an amateur right now, but I don't want to be an amateur, and I'm going to learn and get out of being an amateur. It's again, what do you want? You cannot start a business on a shoestring and just expect it to grow. Some people have done that, but they put some investment. When they say a shoestring, that doesn't mean no investment. Okay. It doesn't mean none. It means at the beginning, maybe none, but then they're like, okay, we got a little bit, a couple of clients now, blah, blah, blah. So I know that. I immediately hired a coach when I became a life coach. Immediately. I got certified, and immediately one of my friends was in New York, and we were meeting at the park because we both had kids. She goes, oh, who's your business coach? And I thought, oh, that's a point. I said, who's yours? She goes, this person. She goes, but I could coach you. I said, no, I'll take your coach. I went. She said, she goes, you don't miss a beat, do you? I said, nope. I thought, why would I coach with her? And I could pay. She goes, she's going to be more expensive. I said, I don't care. She went, wow, okay, I'll introduce you. And I already had decided to hire her when she got on the call with me. It wasn't a sales call. It was like, great. I said, no, I'm in. You don't need to do a sales call. She went, I decided I just need a coach. I know I need it now. She referred you. You're the only person I know, so you're in. She just went, wow, there's no sales call. She's like, I can't believe that. Because I don't waste time, because I don't want to be an amateur. I want to be a professional. So I immediately, I didn't do this. I just said, I'm in. What is it? Just, you're in. I said, you're the only one I know, and you're her coach. She said, you're great. So let's just do this. She said, wow, no sales call. And this is the first coach you've ever hired? I said, yep. I was a life coach. I wasn't even a business coach then. I didn't know anything about really business coaching, but then I learned really quickly. I was just talented at it. So you're saying you need to invest. So work it out. What did I do? I put it on a normal credit card, and then I would shift that balance to a 0% card to give me a lot of time to pay it off at the minimum payment. And I just knew if I didn't do that, how am I going to get clients if I don't know how to get clients? Just going to figure it out by accident. I don't know how to run a business, but I'm just going to figure it out. Why would I do that when I want to save my time and I needed to make money immediately? So I paid for the coach. She helped me get it set up, blah, blah, blah. I started getting clients, and it then was able to pay off the credit card in a few months. So got some coaching, got started, and I got some clients. Next, then I got a better coach. And then I kept getting more, and I kept investing. I've invested so much in this business, and I'm still investing all the time because there's another level, better coaches, better this. I did a lot of exploration with services. A lot of them did not work. I spent $90,000 testing ads. They didn't work. But now I can tell my clients, hey, those don't work. Spent 90K, don't bother. But that's okay. I got to keep testing. So yeah, I mean, you don't just say, oh, okay. And then there's different levels. You can't expect to grow if you don't keep investing. We have an investment budget. Businesses have an investment budget. Serious businesses have a budget for investing to grow. It's a thing. It's a thing. Okay. It's actually known. So yeah, I don't know what to say. You want to be a business person, but you don't want to be a professional. Then you're going to be always an amateur.
Right.
That's all. And I'm going to tell people this because I tell people the truth. I know it doesn't sound nice, but it's the truth.
The truth is better to be truthful and transparent than, to, save feelings, because again, you're running a business. It's going to take a lot of hard truths to be successful, not the feeling stuff. Yes, even if your business in the feelings
It's still a business.
industry,
Still have to
however,
sell. Still have to
you
sell
still have
people.
to talk it out. Yes. Let's talk a bit about people that have tried maybe earlier on, recognized that, yes, I do need a coach, and they've invested in coaching, and the coaching that they were expecting to receive did not materialize in what they
Okay.
got.
Now, I hear this all the time. That's life. I know that sounds mean again, but you go on a date. The date was not what you expected. Do you say, I'm never going to go on another date or not? Most people wouldn't be married if they only went on one date, right? But we all understand dating is a jungle, right? So we know that. So, okay. Do you say, well, oh my gosh, I went on that date. I'm never going to go on another date. It wasn't what I expected.
Right.
Okay. Or anything, choosing anything is not what you expected. You just say, well, or teachers, not every teacher is what you want. Do you say, oh, I'm never going to get another teacher? Well, that class really was not the right teacher. I'm going to switch classes, right?
Right.
I'm going to switch. Okay. Coaching. The coach you got was not everything you wanted. That's life. Not everything is perfect. Find another coach. People take this so to heart, like, oh my gosh, that coach was not the one. And when has ever anything been perfect in anything in your life ever? Silence, right? So the point is, I keep hearing that, oh, I got a coach and they weren't great. I get it. Well, I've had boyfriends, a husband, all sorts of people that have been great. I've been in many coaching programs that aren't great, but you know what I do? I make lemonade out of it, or I just leave. I'm like, okay, one was so bad. I was like, this is so bad. It's just such a waste of time. Some were bad, but I got something out of it because I make lemonade. I'll maybe learn one thing. Okay. So, but I don't complain about it because I'm making a lot of money and somehow something worked with all the coaching I did, even though none of them were perfect. Not one person I ever coached with was perfect. They will not be perfect. I'm not perfect. You get what you can from it, learn from it, and get your best out of it, and not expect human beings to be perfect, because none of us are perfect. No program is perfect, but some are better than others. Let's be real. Some are better than others. Now, we happen to have all sorts of things in our contract that are agreements on certain things happening during the program. Does that make sense? They're not a guarantee. We don't guarantee anything. You're not allowed to, or you're not Federal Trade Commission compliant. So we don't, but we do put agreements in our contracts that certain things have to happen, or we got to keep coaching you at no extra cost. So we put our money where our mouth is, because we just say we're just going to keep work with you till this happens. So I don't know what to say. The coach wasn't good. Move on. Next. Stop lamenting. Stop living in the past. Stop regretting. Regret, all that living in the past is what keeps people stuck. Move forward. One thing we know is we cannot change the past. Nobody has ever been able to change the past. So don't even try. And thinking in the past, your mind is then revisiting, thinking it's the now. Your mind doesn't know the difference. So you're re-traumatizing, re-worrying yourself. Bury it where it belongs, in the past, and move forward and find something that works better. A better boyfriend, a better whatever, a better teacher, a better coach. Move forward, not in the past. Because again, let's use the dating analogy. Are you going to sit there and tell me, oh, I went on a date once. It was the worst guy. Oh my gosh, Jeanne, it didn't work. I can never go on another date. Does anybody ever say that?
I don't think so.
Not once, not after one date. If they're just having a bunch of bad ones, they're like, okay, I'm giving up now after a bunch of bad ones, right? I get it. That happens a lot. But you don't go, oh my goodness, I had one date. It was so bad. I can never go on that date. It wasn't what I expected. Oh my goodness. I can never go on another date again because I was so disappointed. And you talk about it forever and ever and ever. Or you could say, next. Adults just say, well, that didn't work out. Let's move on, right? Yeah. And you just try to find somebody that's going to do a better job, and it won't matter because that will work. That makes sense?
Makes perfect sense. And, there's nothing I can add to that, but if you want to learn something, the school analogy was perfect. I say this to my students all the time. There's students that absolutely love my lectures and they can learn from me. I don't expect everybody to learn from me. I am not the professor for you. Find somebody you can learn from, because at the end of the day, we want you to learn. Not everybody can teach everybody. You can't learn from everybody. Personalities, push, drive, investment. Not everybody is as invested as, no coach is the same. So find somebody that speaks to your spirit, your soul, your being, and your drive, right? That is where you find a match. And don't let bad, experiences to dictate your present and your future. You have to be coachable, teachable, moldable, and flexible, especially in business. Business
Flexible. That's the word. And also, you have to be reasonable.
Yes.
You have to be a reasonable human being. I feel like I'm a reasonable human being. I'm thinking, okay, I want to be a reasonable human being that is reasonable the way you deal with people. But a lot of people are unreasonable, but they expect other people to be reasonable. So, you get what you give, right? So I love all that. Flexible, you said it. All of that. Coachable, you want to learn, all in. And I'm not the coach for every single coach out there, because I know there are a lot of people that don't want my hard truth. I say it nicely, but my clients kind of joke about it. They go, we love the way you're coaching us, but they're kind of joking about it sometimes because they're like, oh, I much prefer you telling me the truth than coddling me, because I just want this to work. And I said, great. So, but some people want a coach that says, oh, love, darling, sweetie, gorgeous. That's so amazing. They want to hear that. And one client of mine, she goes, I want to hear that. And I said, oh, well, I can't talk like that because that's fake for me. I said, it's not my style. So would you rather you get clients or me say, gorgeous, love, that's such a great job? Or could I just say, without putting all those love, gorgeous, beautiful? She wanted me to say stuff like this. And I said, I'm not going to talk in a way that's not me. I don't speak that way. Does it really matter if you're getting clients, which you are getting? Oh, I just like all that. I said, okay, but I'm not going to play charades with you and be fake. So I'm not doing that. So if that's what you really want the most. But she goes, no, I don't want that the most. I said, well, you can't expect me to mold myself to the character that you want, because that's not life. I said, I think I'm pleasant. She goes, oh, you're very nice to me. I said, great, but I'm not going to so love, gorgeous, beautiful. It's not the way I talk. And I find it fake for me because it's not the way I talk. I will not be fake. So is it more important that I be fake or that we help you to continue to get clients? She goes, no, you're right. So that was an odd exchange just a few years ago. And I was bewildered. And I said, so would you rather have a coach that says those things but doesn't get results, or me that won't talk to you like that but helps you get results as we are? She goes, no, definitely better to have you. I said, great. Are we good then, right? She goes, yeah. But I just like that. I said, I get it. That's not me. It was a very odd, and I thought, wow, people are coaching with people just because of them saying gorgeous, beautiful, hi, love, it's beautiful, what you're doing is amazing. I mean, I wouldn't pay for that. I want results. I want you to show me and coach me on something I don't know how to do. And the reason why I hire people, I find people that have done what I want to do. And I just say, hey, just show me how you did that. And sometimes they say, but I'm not a coach, Jeanne. I'm like, that's okay. I'll pay you anyway. You can be my coach. I don't care if you're a coach or not. I don't care how you deliver it. Just show me what you did. Because I don't care about all that. I want the goods. And they're like, but I'm not. I said, that's okay. I'll pay you anyway. Just, can you share with me? Sure, I can. I said, I don't care how you deliver it. They're like, okay, but we just get on a call and you just show me what you did. They're like, okay. I said, now you're a coach. And they're like, sure. And I pay high ticket. I'm like, sure, I'll pay you X amount of thousands of dollars. And they're like, laugh, sure, I'll do it. And then, so it's really all this thing about style for somebody like me, a high achiever like me. I couldn't care less. Just don't swear at me. Okay, that's all. Just so you're not using vile language. I'm good.
I love it. That my next question, you kind of like segued into it. What if somebody who, they love what they do and they're great at what they do, but they don't feel like they are coaches, being that they don't consider their career or the work that they do something somebody might possibly need to be coached on, like the person that you mentioned. But there are people out there actively looking without being on the internet screaming into the wind, I'm looking for a coach to help me in. How would somebody like that market and step into their geniuses, for lack of a
Genius
better
zone.
word?
I use that word all the time, your genius zone. Well, this is the thing. We help a lot of people that aren't
Right.
even coaches. We help people that go, okay, so I'm not a coach, but I want to be. Could you help me out? Yes. We've helped a lot. We have a California state judge that joined my program a few weeks ago. And he said, okay, what is coaching? And I told him, and I said, what do you want to coach with? And he said, I want to teach people this. And I said, sure, that's a great offer. He said, really? I said, absolutely, that you're going to get clients because I know the market. He said, okay, I'll do this. And he signed up for my year and he's getting high ticket clients. He's not a business person. He became a business person in 2 weeks because he just does what I say. He's like, just tell me how to do that. How do I do sales calls? Sure. He's like, how do I sign people? Sure. How do I get them to pay me? Great. He's talking to multi-million-dollar companies in Dubai now. I'm like, wow. I said to him on the call today, I said, wow, and this gentleman didn't know what coaching was a mere 2 months ago. And he laughed. He's getting clients before the first 4 weeks it's ended. It's not that difficult. It's just deciding I'm going to do this. I'm going to get the help and stop all the triple, gajillion guessing yourself, doubles. Nobody cares about that. Nobody's in your brain listening to your thoughts of going around and around and around. That's a monodrama. That's called a monodrama. That's a drama that's all in somebody's brain. That's a thing in playwriting. Okay, so this is the deal. If you feel like you have something, get somebody that believes in you and says, great, let's create an offer. But you do need to be out there messaging. There needs to be a message. I help X, so they can see, oh, that's me. Instead of hoping that somebody's going to find you. Hope is not a strategy. It is not a strategy at all. There is no hope in business. That's a joke. I say that when I do public speaking. There's no hope in business. There is action and results and testing. I do something. What happened? Okay, that worked or didn't work. It didn't work. Great. I'm going to do something else. Did that work? I mean, you test more than once, right? And it's just a series of doing actions and testing and seeing what works. That's all business is.
Absolutely. So you talked about market and the gentleman that you mentioned now having calls with Dubai. So when you are analyzing the market for a coach or consultant, do you analyze the market based on geographical reach, globally or immediate? So the question is kind of, if healthcare, I'm asking from a very personal place, in healthcare, education, and consultancy, right? You have a global interest in addition to home interest, which is national. Is the structuring of calls, the sales calls, different, or is it something that can easily be replicated?
Oh, it makes no difference where you're talking to somebody. That just depends. Do you want to be national? I'm international. Okay. We pick certain countries we know work better than others, so we don't do lead gen in certain countries. Also, if the time zone is 2 way out, we won't bother. We don't want to. It's too hard. So it doesn't matter. It's just like, what do you want? It's really, do you want to help Americans, Canadians, British people, French people? Where do you want to play?
Right.
And then you find those people. But it's much easier to do that on LinkedIn because you can do searches. But no, the sales call's all the same, just so that they're speaking your language.
Right.
So I'm guessing you're going to be coaching in English, right? So they have to be English-speaking countries or people that speak English. No, the sales call's exactly the same.
But what if there's a language difference?
Then you
So
don't sell to those people. How are you going to coach somebody if they don't understand you? Like, right? I speak French. I could coach. I've had French clients who speak some English, but they also know I speak French if they don't I'll say it in French. And they're like, oh, okay. I would never go after people that don't speak English because how am I going to coach them? At this point, I'm trying to figure out a solution for that. Actually, it's funny you said that. But at the moment, I don't have a solution for that. I will have one with AI. So, yeah, there's millions of people in America, millions of people in Canada, millions of people in Britain, right? And other English speaking countries. So why would you have to worry about?
The reason I'm asking that question is, people do see reach and impact, and they reach out even if there's a language barrier, as opposed to turning down a client who actually is willing to pay for your services because of a language barrier. Is there a way to bridge that gap or mitigate that relationship?
No, if you don't know, why would you do that? If they don't speak well enough, you're going to have struggle coaching them. So don't do it. Yeah, no way to bridge that one. Not right now.
No way. Got it. All right. So in a global market, and I see interest, and I've had to turn down a few things. I spoke French as a kid. I lost my French because I stopped using it. So you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
There has been interest, and, globally, especially with the podcast, which has really humbled me. And I'm very grateful for that. That I do have a listening audience as far as Japan. It's just basically framing myself in a way that I'm not a disservice to the people who actually reach out, right? Like you said, is wasting your time and wasting
all
that
you have to
person's
say is, how good is your English? And they go, I speak a tiny bit. Well, I probably couldn't help you because I don't speak Japanese or whatever. So, you cannot coach somebody if they're not understanding you.
Right.
I mean, even in English, it's hard to have people understand each other, right? In your same language. So just say, how well do you speak English? That's the question. And they say, not very well. Say, well, then I can't coach you. It's that simple.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not going to work.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense. So for anybody listening to us who has, this burning of going out there and making an impact, how can they reach out to you, Jeanne?
Well, you are going to have a link that they can click on in the show notes, which is JeanneOmlor.com. That's JeanneOmlor.com. And if you put /reviews, you'll see all of my lovely testimonials. And I want to say that if people are interested in becoming a coach, we also help with that, to just craft, their career with it. But, you have to have the mindset. I can do this. I want to do it. I just need help from somebody that knows what they're doing. And once that mindset is, you can do anything. The reason why people don't do stuff is because they're afraid. But anyway, I digress. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Jeanne Omlor, Instagram, Jeanne Omlor, Facebook, Jeanne Omlor. I'm all over the place with my name.
I love it. So just Jeanne said in the show notes, we'll make sure all these links are available so you don't have to remember the spelling. So it's quite simple. It's there. But we'll save you that, so you just click on the link, get to the right page. So just in case by any peradventure there's somebody with a similar name, you're not clicking on the wrong person. We'll make sure everything is there. So reach out, ask questions, right? Read the reviews yourself, okay? If there's any doubt or you just need your extra research, go ahead, research yourself. I happen to know, and we found out on a call right before we jumped on, I happen to know somebody that was coached by Jeanne. So that's the review right there. I admire what this person does. She's in my industry. She's killing it. She's making an impact. She's awesome. So that is my review. So it is time to own your genius, step into it, let go of limiting beliefs. I know that is usually sometimes easier said than done, but once you make up your mind to let go of it, and ignore the noise, because there's usually lots of noise. Ignore the noise, ignore the bad experiences, focus on the here and now and the future. You can do this. You have something to offer. You may think you don't. You do have something to offer, and the people waiting to hear from you. So step in and grab it and go for it. Jeanne, this was such a great, great interview. And I usually ask my guests to leave a few golden nuggets for our listeners. And what is the one thing or few things you'd like our listeners to take with them?
You are worthy and ready right now. If not now, when? That's it.
When? Do it. Do it. Do it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This was impactful for me, and I know there was something that was impactful for everybody. You see, I didn't use hope because hope is passive. Do it. Do it. Go for it. You have a team here to support you. Yeah, go for it. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Jeanne, for being here. Really appreciate you. I'm grateful.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to Avik Beck's podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. It really helps us out. We'd love to hear your thoughts and continue the discussion. So join us on social media or drop us a message. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and keep pushing the boundaries of your world.